there.
Any other questions of the Congressman?
Yes, ma'am.
This is kind of like a big issue. What's your stance on global warming?
The question is, what is my stance on global warming? I have no doubt that it is something that is occurring. But what I am certainly not sure of at all is the degree to which human beings actually affect it. And that's still a very contentious point. For every single report that I get from somebody saying that it is man-caused by carbon emissions, I get another one that says it's got nothing to do with it and that it's a natural phenomenon. The world has gone through many times and will go through many more times. So here's what I think we need to do. I believe that we need to move away from the use of fossil fuels as quickly as possible. But I think we need to do it for a different reason. I think we need to do it for our national security. Because we are buying oil today from countries that really don't like us. And we are providing them with a lot of money that they in turn use to do very bad things sometimes. So I want to move as quickly as I can away from fossil fuels. If you do that, you immediately reduce the carbon emissions that some people blame for global warming. So whether or not it's man-made doesn't really matter to me. I want to start reducing carbon emissions immediately because it's a national security issue, because we're buying oil from countries that are not friends. But as to whether it's caused or not, I mean, let me tell you, if you were in my position, you would get really bombarded with stuff from both sides. And not being a scientist, I mean, what can you do? You read it, you listen to it, and you think to yourself, well, here's somebody who has credentials up to here, who says it's absolutely because of man's. Let me tell you something that did have a very interesting thing that occurred a couple of weeks ago in the United Nations. Now, by the way, I happen to be very pro-life. Okay, I believe abortion is murder, so I have to get that out on the front end here. But and I especially don't like China's policy, their forced abortion policy, one-child policy, and they will force abortions, and they have. Well, 2 weeks ago, China was debating this issue of global warming. I mean, the issue was being debated at the United Nations, and there is a discussion about trying to get countries to band together to reduce their carbon emissions. Okay? And so China wanted to use, believe this or not, they wanted to use 1.5 billion tons of carbon emission credits. They think they should have credits because they have forcibly stopped the birth of 300 million people. Yes, in China, and in unfortunately too many societies, that's what's happening. A human being is becoming only the value of the carbon emission, And so they said, hey, we have forcibly stopped 300 million people from being born. We want credit for that. It's a crazy thing, a crazy world. But that's